Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back this evening with another cool pinball repair video for you. We have been working on this Chicago coin moonshot pinball machine, and it's a pretty cool little game. On the previous video, we worked on the flippers a little bit, got them a lot stronger than they were by high tapping it, and also putting replacement coils on it. So that was kind of interesting. So go back and check that out if you haven't seen that video. But we're going to try to repair some stuff on it now. The thing is actually playing, but it's doing a few little weird things. One of the weird things is that it starts a 4-player game every time you start it, and then it skips the first player. So it's really weird. You play a 2, 3, and 4-player game each time you press start. And it plays all the way through, but that's kind of weird. I don't even think it was doing that whenever we brought it in, but maybe. So we got to figure out how we messed that up. Must have screwed something up on the player control unit or something, so we're going to look into that. So I'm going to get the schematics. We'll see if we can figure out how that could possibly be true, and then we'll see if we can get it back to playing a 1-player game when you press the start button. Okay, so the thing that controls how many players are in the game is actually called the coin unit. So it's kind of like how many coins are inserted into the game. You know, 1 coin for each player. So it's just typical that they call it the coin unit. And you can also see that down here. The coin unit describes the number of players in the game, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it, and well, I already know that it does that because whenever it moves around, it also yeah, let's start a game and just see what it does with those lights. So see on the back box it says players 1. So if I start a game, maybe it decided to cooperate again. We're on 1 player. Alright. Okay, yeah, now we're on player 2, but it still says player 1 player. Maybe those bulbs are burnt up or something. Oh, and look, it moved us to ball and play 2. Right. Now we're on player 3. Now we're on player 4. Ball 3, but it skipped player 1. So that's a strange one. Okay, so I've taken the back door off, and we're going to have to just kind of go back to the drawing board, people. This will be a great educational experience for everybody. This is the coin unit, so I was trying to see if it's set on 4-player or what it's doing. It's actually set on 1 player, and if I try to advance it, it won't even advance because the stepper unit needs cleaned and rebuilt. Now, normally, whenever I do these, I just go through and I clean everything and then try to troubleshoot them. And this is why. It's because of stuff like this. You get these little issues that, you know, you could actually fix just by cleaning everything before you have to troubleshoot it. Let's see what the Jones plugs look like, just for giggles. They don't look too bad. So, since the game was working, you know, the customer was wanting us to just, you know, fix a couple little things on it, but a lot of times you can't really do it like that because you kind of got to go through and make sure everything's working. So this is the 8-to-9 unit, as our buddies at the Goat Shed Pinball, let me get it right, the Goat Shed EM Pinball Repair Palace in Australia like to say, the 8-to-9 unit. It seems to be seems to be working. This is the player control unit. Notice it's a double-decker. Okay, so that, I guess, got us to 4. Now let's see what happens when we reset. So see, I just moved it up to the 4th position. Okay. Now when we reset, yeah, it went all the way back to the 1st position. So that's actually right. Okay. This is the 1 to 9 relay. The 10 to 90 to the 100 to 900. 2nd and 4th player reset. 1st and 3rd player reset. Those seem to be working fine. It keeps resetting. And then we've got all these score reels. So I think our first thing is to clean these stepper units here to make sure everything looks good on them and it doesn't look like there's any broken wires or wires in the wrong spot or any of that. So that's next up. So I'll start with this coin unit since it's what we suspected in the first place. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to take this nut off, pull the spider off, clean the contacts, and then see, there must be some kind of resistance through it. Maybe that needs to be cleaned. So we'll see. We'll have to disassemble a little bit of it here to see what's gumming it up. Okay, so this is the coin unit. Now I want you to look at it, people. Look at this. Look at it. You see it, right? You see why it's all gummed up, right? Look at that. You know what that is, right? It's that damn WD-40. The bane of my existence. WD-40 all over it. That ain't what you do, people. Don't put the People, come on now. WD-40 is a cleaner. It is not a lubricant. Don't put people. Come on now. You can't do that. That ain't right. Now I know what you're saying, Ron. If I don't put WD-40 on it, what should I put on it? You should put 3-in-1 oil on it. Works perfect. Look what it says. Long lasting. It lubricates. It penetrates rust and it cleans. It's much better than WD-40. WD-40, you could spray it on it, but then you got to clean it off because it ain't worth a damn. WD-40 sucks, people. Now, let me point something out to you. 3-in-1 oil is actually made by the WD-40 company. So I have yet to figure this out. I don't understand. I don't know why they make both. Because this stuff does the same stuff WD-40 does. I don't get it. Makes no sense. But you put a little bit of this on there. Like something like that. And that will actually clean off the WD-40 and lubricate it. And get it where that thing will spin like it's supposed to spin. 3-in-1 oil. No mas WD-40. Come on, people. You don't need the... Come on, people. I know it's in the spray can. I think all of y'all just like it because it smells good. Come on now. We got to stop with the... People, people... It keeps getting all gummed up. I don't know why people keep using it. It gets me all upset, and then here I go on a rant. All right, folks. So I cleaned it off. Cleaned the bakelite. Now watch this. So we're at position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4. Remember, it wouldn't do that a second ago. And if I hit this one, resets all the way back. Now you also want to check if you just go a little bit, will it reset all the way back? Because sometimes it won't. That may be what's going on here. Let's see on this one. So if I'm only at... That one seems all right too, but I don't like that all of the contacts are dirty, so I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to take it apart, people. You know if there's WD-40 on this one, you know it's got to be on that one. Now, when we clean up the little board here, we use super lube on it. This is the stuff here because it's dielectric. That's what you want. Now, if you want some of this, you can go on our website, lionsarcade.com. We have a parts page, and we have links to a bunch of the stuff we use whenever we do our repairs. You can go check that out. And those links take you to Amazon. And if you if you buy anything on Amazon, even if it's not something that we linked you to, it gives us a little tip because we sent you there. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. So this big double-decker one, I'm going to take apart and do the same thing. And, you know, we've got some kind of problem here with the coin unit, the player unit, or whatever controls those. So we're getting there. Okay, so we got that one all back. Did it, took it all apart, cleaned it, same exact thing. They're very similar, people. If you've seen our other videos, you've seen us do this 1,000 times. Working great. However, that has not fixed our problem. Because as you saw earlier, that wasn't what was going on. Like, nothing was happening there. The coin thing was always on one, and it was still playing a 4-player game. So we're going to have to look at the schematics and figure out how this thing is supposed to work. So here are the schematics. Schematics as far as the eye can see. Okay. So this is the game reset relay. Now, when does that come in? When the game starts resetting. And when does the game reset? It's when you start the game. Now, people, when I say stuff like that, I'm being kind and nice. I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm just saying, I'm trying to say out loud how simple all this is, and then we'll see if together we can figure it out. So there's the game reset relay. The 10-cent micro switch will start it, or the replay reset relay will start it. Okay, so basically that's how the game starts. So the game reset relay comes in, and the power increases the total play counter. So that's the coin counter, right? And then it also comes over here, and if the first ball relay hasn't pulled in, and if the game over relay is still connected because the game hasn't started, it moves the coin unit step up coil. Okay, so that one's the coin unit. So that's the first position. That's as far back as it will go. And when if I was to put another dime in, it would move it up again. So the game starts and it moves up. That would be 2, 3, 4. That doesn't make much sense to me. Let's see what resets it. See what I'm talking about, making it real simple and saying it out loud? So the game reset relay comes in. If the first ball relay hasn't pulled in and the game over relay hasn't pulled in, it will step up the coin unit. I must have that backwards. It must be if the first ball relay is pulled in and the game over relay. Interesting. Okay, so if it's the other way, if the whole problem is it doesn't say what position the thing is in. Like, is all of this drawn in game over mode, or is it drawn in ball and play mode? I mean, this doesn't say here anywhere. SU, we see it means step up. Okay, switch code. Normally open, closed when energized. Normally closed, open when energized. But what is normal? What is normal, folks? Okay, well, let's see what resets the coin unit, okay? Because surely it would do that at some point. Coin unit reset. There we go. Coin unit reset is done by the number 2 start relay, okay? So at the beginning of the game, that must happen. Now, what makes the number 2 start relay pull in? The number 1 start relay. What makes the number 1 start relay pull in? This reset relay. but only if the first ball relay has been pulled in. So what makes the first ball relay pull in? I'm looking for it. It's here somewhere. These are big schematics, people. Don't worry about it, though. We'll figure it out. Boy, there's stuff everywhere. What in the world? What are they doing to us? I don't see it. I have people a lot of times say, why don't you film all of your work? This is why. You end up just going around looking for stuff. It takes quite a while to do this, folks. There is the first ball relay. Now, what pulls in the first ball relay? The playfield runway switch. That is so weird. Okay, so as the ball runs through the playfield, it pulls in the first ball relay. Or the 1 to 9 drum unit end of stroke switch on the first player. As soon as the first player scores a point, it pulls in the first ball relay. Okay, so then it pulls in the first ball relay. So that would knock this over to here after you've scored a point. So then, if the game resets, I don't know, folks. It's a little weird. So that has something to do with the way that the multiplayer works. They're basically making it so that each time you put in a dime, this coin unit step-up unit switch comes in, coil comes in to add another person on the coin unit to make it a 2-player game, 3-player game, or a 4-player game. Okay. So what we need to look at is the ball, or the thing that steps up the player control unit, because I think that's what controls, that's that double decker one that we were looking at. That's what controls which player is up to bat. Okay, so yeah. So see how this says first player up lights, there's 4 of them, second player up lights, third player up lights, fourth player up lights. So the player controller unit, as it moves, is moving all of those lights. A lot of times whenever you can't figure out what's happening, why something's doing something, pay attention to the light bulbs, because you can figure out by working backwards from the light that's on or not on, and figure out what area actually controls that. Okay. So the player control number 1 unit, which is attached to the player control number 2 unit, remember there's the 2 boards, it's a double decker, we're calling it, is what is changing which player is up, right? So anywhere you see something that says player control, that's your issue. Now, if you'll remember, on the previous video, we were screwing around with one of the player control relays. Maybe we screwed it up or something. That was the one that we was buzzing. So the player control unit step up relay, not to be confused with the player control relay, is the one that changes the player. Now, check this out. Here's the coin unit. And so as it moves, so let's say that the coin unit is on a 4-player game, then it would be way down here. Okay, so as the player control unit moves to the second player, the third player, and then it would take it till the fourth player to get power through that arrow that's now down on the fourth player. I guess when the ball count relay pulls in, it would pull in the player control relay. Player control relay, if it was pulled up, would pull in the player control unit reset. If the first ball relay is pulled in, which it should be because the ball went through the shooter lane. If the extra ball relay hasn't been tripped, and if the ball count relay pulls in, so whenever that pulls in, it would do it. So why is that important? It's because the player control unit is going to step up, you know, first player, second player, third player, fourth player. But if it's let's say it's a two-player game, you want it to go to the first player and then second player, and then reset back to first player. Second player, reset back. You don't want it to move to third player. So what ours is doing is it's going first player, second player, third player, fourth player. Okay. So it's as if we're at the fourth player here, because when this moves, this never gets the power to do this and then reset the player control unit. However, when it does get down to number 4, it resets it back to player 1 or player 2 sometimes. That's all screwed up. Right? So this wire that goes through the coin unit and then the player control unit, that's why I looked at this earlier. I was cleaning these because I noticed that it was all involved, but that hasn't got us going. If power though is coming through here, through the coin unit, through those wires, through the player control unit, as it should, that should be working. Okay, so I'm gonna keep looking around. Okay, so I figured it out. So, like I was saying, the coin unit, if it's just set on a one-player game, what happens is the one player starts, basically you get power whenever the ball count relay pulls in, and it turns on this player control relay, which is the one that we were messing with last time. Self-inflicted wounds, people. All because it was humming, remember? And so that one, if I can find it here, if it's one way or the other, either makes so the ball count unit steps, and if it's more than a one-player game, right, this doesn't pull in. So since this is closed, it makes the player control unit step up. So you go to player 2. So that's why it's doing it without the coin unit being on a two-player game, because this isn't moving. If this were to move, it would reset the player control unit, but every time you reset the player control unit, you just put it back to first player. So like if you're on first player and the ball steps up to ball 2 or whatever, this goes back to player 1, even though you're already on player 1, because it's just resetting it. So we got some kind of problem here with this thing that I was screwing around with. So let's check that out. So it is that relay right there. That was the one that was buzzing. And so I'm going to clean those switches and make sure that they're working properly. Then I'll start a game and see if that actually moves or what's going on with it. See those two bare wires there? It's the wire loom heading up to the top. Basically, depending on how that's laying in there, wires are shorting together. So I'm going to have to unravel some of this and just look for worn spots. I don't know if that's because mice have been eating on it or something. Since they're right next to each other, I think what's going on is that maybe they were laying back here and touching the bell. See the edge of the bell there? So maybe they were shorting those two wires together or something, but if I finagle it, if I move it around a little bit, they're no longer shorted and everything's cool. But you see how all of that looks kind of mangled there? Something happened where all of that got smashed or something. So if you look, it's the white and black wire, white and black, yellow and black, red and black are the ones that I see right now. Okay, folks, I think I figured it out with the help of a gentleman on Pinside.com. So I've been messing with this thing for, you're not going to believe this, for weeks. Mess with it a little bit, take a couple days, think about it, mess with it a little bit again, take a couple days to think about it. Sometimes to fix something, you can't do it all at one time, you just waste your time. So you got to do it just a little bit at a time and come back to it. Like if you know what the issue is, you got to just come back to it until you can see it from a different angle, right? So, this player control relay, which is the one we were messing with in the other video that was buzzing. Remember, the customer said that sometimes the game buzzes. I now don't think he was talking about that buzzing. We'll talk about it here in a second. If this player control relay doesn't come in right, the ball count and the player count is never going to work right. So that has to come in at the end of each ball. Okay, so what makes it come in? The ball count relay, when it comes in, if you're on 1 coin, 1 player, or if you're on 2 coins when you get to the second player, or if you're on 3 coins when you get to the third player, right? It pulls this in. If this isn't pulled in, it goes from player 1 to player 2. But you saw what ours was doing. We were going from player 1 immediately to player 2 at the beginning of the game. Now, why would it do that? Well, when the score motor turns, eventually this switch opens up, D4, okay? So if D4 hasn't opened, the player control relay will hold itself in through a switch on itself, okay? And then if we go back down here to where it does its little thing, the ball count relay pulls in. Now keep in mind that's also the thing that turns on the player control relay. We just saw that. The extra ball relay hasn't been tripped. The first ball relay hasn't been dropped. But that's kind of a timing thing too, because if it's resetting at the beginning of the game, it could be that hasn't been reset yet, because that gets reset by the relay bank, right? And then you get to the player control relay. So if it doesn't pull in, then the player control unit steps up. Well, that's how you get to player 2, player 3, player 4. You have to step that up. If it does pull in, like I'm saying it should, when the ball count relay comes in, that should pull in. It makes the player control unit reset. And then if the start relay is tripped, it will also step up the ball count step-up unit. Okay, so basically you get the ball 1. The next time it sends a pulse, the ball count relay pulses, it will reset the player control unit back to player 1, even though you were on player 1, and it will also step up to ball 2, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and this all happens when the ball crosses the trough. So let's go look at the machine, and I'll show you what it was doing. And the gentleman on Pinside had the same problem like a year ago. All right, so we should be good now. Let's see. Okay, so we stayed on player 1, ball 1. Shoot the ball, do the thing, make it do what it do. Who's the ball? Stayed on player 1. Did you hear the clunk in the back? That was the player control unit resetting, even though it was already reset. Ball 2. Okay, so let me show you what the issue was. The player control relay back there stays on until D4 opens. We just looked at that on the schematic. Okay, this is switch D4. Now remember, we already talked about that. I filmed so much stuff, I took a bunch of it back out because I already thought I fixed this like 3 times and it ended up keep happening. So that is the D4 switch. So eventually this opens and it turns that off. Okay, but remember, we need that to be on so that it will step up the ball but not step up the player. Okay. Now, let's say you played a 3-player game. What would happen is you'd play the first player, and then that wouldn't come on, and it would step up to the second player, and then that wouldn't come on, it would step up to the third player, and then because of the way the coin unit is set up, it would connect wiring through the player unit, and when you went at the end of the ball on player 3, that would come on, which would reset the player unit back to 1 and also step up the ball unit to 2. So it makes sense the way they did it, but it's just, you know, it's a little different than the companies usually did it. This is Chicago Coin's famous nylon cam. Okay, we've done videos about this before. We had a Gunsmoke where that thing was screwed up, and it's just a thing where a lot of times there's problems with these, right? So this one has not broken or anything. What happens is down on the bottom there's a set screw, and that thing breaks just because the plastic cracks. And when the plastic cracks, the motor will turn and just freewheel inside of this, and the cam won't turn. But this cam has to turn, you know, to make everything happen. That's what makes it happen. So let's look at our switch here, and I'll show you what our problem was. And this is the type of crap that you end up chasing for like weeks. I mean, I didn't work on it non-stop for weeks, but I worked on it here and there over the course of several weeks. So it's opened, right? So it's not connected. Notice I've got it very close. It is very close to connecting. Now I'm going to bump it up on the cam. Okay, so we are connected now. That switch is connected. Now I'm going to turn this cam, and I want you to watch the switch. Did you see that? Did you see it move? See it move again? Okay, so it opened. Now let's go back up. See it moving? So it opens again. Now we are on the third trip around. Okay. So basically what's happening is that nylon cam is not perfectly round. It's got a little play in it and a little wobble in it. So all of these switches don't stay closed all the time. So what was going on, I had already messed with that and cleaned it and adjusted it. What was going on was I had it gapped a little farther open because you're not really supposed to have them really close, because you have the problem where when the switch drops out, so like on that player unit that we're talking about, that relay holds itself on with the switch through, and then that holds it on too. So basically, when that thing, when that drops out, it should open, which makes the relay open, which makes the relay disconnect its own switch that it's holding itself on with. It's a timing thing. I've talked about this a bunch, and a lot of people don't understand what I'm saying. Mr. Wayne, that replies to all of our videos, he's always talking about he doesn't understand what we're talking about with the timing. I'm talking about the amount of time, like the split-second timing between the switch physically opening and another one physically closing, right? So if your switch is almost connected, and there's just a little bit of air between it, this thing's spinning, kind of like that, pretty quick. So when that falls down in that, look at when this hits this impulse. Look how quick that goes, right? So it's possible for this switch, when it falls in that hole down there, to open and then close again so fast that it doesn't actually kill power to the relay. So you don't really want them all really tight and really close to each other. You want to make sure that it opens well and then closes well. So the way I typically do it is you kind of err on the side of it not closing all the way. Now they all need to close, but you want it to close and just kind of barely move the switch, usually, right? So I had it adjusted where it closed and moved the switch so that it would make sure that it opens as it turns around. All right. But the problem we're running into is when this wobbled a little bit, or when it got to a spot on the plastic, on the nylon that was slightly out of round, it very well may have even shrunk or something, Whenever it got to that spot, it was opening just enough that it didn't electrically conduct and was starting to turn that off. Well, when that turned off, it would connect back to the other side that steps up the player, because some other switch that makes that happen, I believe it's A3, was still connected, and the ball count relay was still connected. So you were getting two pulses through that relay, one while it was closed, which stepped up the ball and reset the control unit, and then it would open up by bouncing over here, and it would hit it again because the other ones were still connected. So you got to get that thing where it's almost always connected and just barely opens whenever it falls in that rut. And that's just the way that one needs to be timed. There may be other ones that need to be the opposite, where they're just barely closing and most of the time they're open. So it's just stuff you figure out by messing with it. But there was a gentleman on Pinside who had the exact same problem on another Chicago coin game. I'm talking down to the freaking switch. Had the exact same thing going on. And so he posted that he figured it out by thinking about it for a while. He did it in one night. God. He thought about it one day and fixed it the next day. It took me weeks. And then I had to read what he said, right? So he started thinking, man, that switch there, it could be if that thing bounced open. And that's exactly what it was. So on his, it was doing the same thing, even though his was a 2-player. And on our 4-player, it's doing the same thing. All right, so we're working through it. And I'm glad to get that done. One thing I wanted to try was this white stuff in the shooter lane. I'm going to try putting some of our wax on it and see if that improves that. So let me go grab that and see if that cleans it up. So we're going to try a little experiment here. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to pitch you this wax. This is the stuff. You can just buy this in the auto parts stores, at least in the United States. When I was a kid, the guy that set up across from us at the flea market sold this stuff. It wasn't this brand. It was just Carnauba wax. And his was like pink. But, so I was kind of conditioned as a kid. I used to watch that guy over there. He had like an old vintage car, like a collector's car. And then he had like the trunk of one that was in perfect condition. And I remember as a kid, as a teenager, thinking, man, that's crazy. The guy's got that really nice trunk. He ought to put that back on the car. But he didn't have the car. He just had the trunk. And he would stand over there and wax that thing all day. And that was like the nicest looking body part on a car I'd ever seen, right? So anyway, so I've always been partial to this Carnauba stuff. So whenever we first started working on these things, I was just using turtle wax that was like just regular wax. And when we did our playfields, I would notice that there would be all of this white residue on the playfield. So you can see it. Like, see that? So all of these playfields get cracks in them. So the paint literally has cracked over the years. Remember, it's plywood. And if you look at any old piece of plywood, it will have all these little cracks in it. And so the paint covers it up originally, but after it gets a little old, all of the paint cracks where all of the grain lines are on the plywood. And it's just a thing, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just they all do it. The old ones. Now, I don't know about the newer ones. So all of these EMs are like that. So we figured out eventually, or I think we figured out, we're about to test it, that if you don't use white wax, if you use like a yellow wax, like Carnauba wax, that doesn't happen. You don't see it as much because it's just not white. So all of that's just like a white powder in the playfield. So we're just going to wax a little bit of it with this yellow wax and see if it dries different and you don't get that same look. Now here in the shooter lane, it's really bad. And you can see it doesn't come all the way down here. So this part they didn't wax. We didn't do this playfield, someone else did. This part they didn't wax, and you can see where they started using the wax, and it's like just yellowed. I mean, it's just white. Makes it all stand out. So we're going to try to wax it just with this Carnauba wax over the other stuff. Now you don't have to really remove the old wax because wax is a cleaner, actually. They may not call it that on this because they don't want to, they want to sell their cleaner separately. Let's see here. Yeah, they don't say anything about this wax being a cleaner, but wax is a cleaner. Most wax says that. This, they don't say it because they want you to use their cleaner and then their wax. By the way, if you want to get some of this and try it, it's on our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. We got a parts page on there where we put a lot of the stuff that we use. Okay, so I'm going to wax it a little bit, and we'll see if there's a difference. Maybe I'll leave the very top of that unwaxed just so we can compare. Okay, so the first little attention, I just rubbed it in. I haven't wiped it off yet. Okay. So, you know, you just get it on everything. Try to get up all the excess. And so this is what it looks like when it's basically wet. So I left that spot. Now you might say, well, why does it look black now? It's because it's just dirty. Basically that groove, the shooter lane groove, is this side of the plywood. So you're just, instead of being on the face of it, you're like on the edge of the grain. So it's harder to keep that clean because there's just a lot more. Basically there's cracks the whole way. You know, that's just the grain of the wood. It's like if you take a piece of any kind of wood and turn it on the end on the grain, that's what you're looking at there. Now you can clean that. The best way to clean it, frankly, is with a piece of sandpaper. Just take a little rolled up piece of sandpaper and rub it with your finger. Boy, I'm gonna get all kinds of copyright strikes on this last 60 seconds here. The last 69 seconds have been just, they're definitely gonna thump me on this one. This you can sand it, right, and that'll get it look where it looks like fresh wood, and then wax it and it'll look better. But we'll let it dry a little bit and then we'll buff it to a shine. Let's see if I can buff any of it to a shine already. So like, let's do this part because that's what we were showing with the camera. Bring the shine back. Now it's just one coat of car wax. All right, now let's look at it from the same angle that we were looking at it. Let's get real close so you can see the cracks. Still see a little bit of white, but nowhere near what it was, and it almost gives you the impression that what you're seeing is like the wax that we didn't clean out. I don't know. Your mileage may vary. So, okay, yeah, maybe we can, I didn't do the very top up there. So that's what we got here. What do you think? Is it just, maybe it's just dirty and it just needed waxed? What do you think? I don't know. In my opinion, definitely use yellow wax. I think this will tell the tale though, because I left that part. Okay, so I cleaned up the rest of it and I let that dry over here and buffed it out the best I could. That's about how it's going to stay. So you can see it does darken it up, but that's because it's actually dirty. So I mean, if it's dirty, it probably should look dark until you clean it, right? And there's the part that it was before. So you can decide if you think it looks better with the white or the carnauba. The carnauba, to me, just makes it look more like the varnish did back in the day. You know, it's a better match. So I'm going to get rid of that last little bit of the white for them. And then there were a couple of these pop bumpers that didn't light right. So I'm going to go through and tighten the sockets on those and replace all the bulbs on them. Yeah, and then we got to clean up some more stuff. We got to work on the back box a little bit, do some lights back there and things. This back box has actually separated a little bit. When we brought it in, we noticed that. But it seems pretty simple. It's just the nails have came out. So we're going to re-nail that, but I'm going to get Joe to put some glue on it. All right. Before something horrible happens, because if you look at this back glass, it's actually in decent shape. It's not perfect. It's got a little bit of cracking in the paint, but it's in pretty nice shape. It's very presentable the way it is. So we'll glue that up, put some nails in it, swap those, clean up a few more things, and then we'll come back and we gotta do the light bulbs behind the back glass too. So we still got a little bit of stuff, but it's getting there. Okay, so Joe came in and he replaced the light bulbs that were missing or not working. And then he worked on this corner a little bit. We put some glue on it. Got the nails back in there where they go. So we're hoping that that has got us how it's supposed to be. Seems a lot better. So we're letting the glue dry, make it nice and solid. So we got to clean it up just a little bit more, and she's about ready to go. Let's see if it's still starting a one-player game. What do you think? Should I tempt fate? Perfect. You fixed it, Joey.
Yeah, buddy.
The flippers are a lot stronger than they were. What do you think, Joe? Is he going to be happy with the flippers?
I think he's going to love it.
Ball 2, player 1. It's hard to play with one hand while you're filming. Ball 3, player 1. Now we played multiplayer games too. They all work as they should. So I think we have got it doing its thing. Ball 4, player 1. Nice little shot all the way back to the top. The flipper stuck, Joe. I think the flipper might be sticking. This is why we test playing, people. Probably a switch. Probably the cabinet switch. But we'll mess with that a little bit. But we're about done. Okay, so how do you figure stuff like that out? Well, the first thing you want to check is your flipper switch on the side of the cabinet and see if it's sticking. And this one is not sticking. No matter what it does, it never sticks. So I got the flipper to stick in the up position and confirmed that the cabinet switch was not stuck together. Also, you have to watch if you fouled the contacts with a file or something. You have to make sure that there's no dust down between on that little spacer there. I've actually had them before where the dust that fell off the contacts fell to the bottom and then was conducting and making it do that. But that's not what's going on with this one. So then, remember, I already replaced the coils. Now, a coil will usually not make it stick on like that. Because, you know, it was working fine. It just sticks a little bit. But we already replaced these. But what happened was, and the end of stroke switch will not usually make it stick up like that. What happened was, I didn't clean the, what's it called, Joe?
Coil stop.
Coil stop, that's right. I didn't clean the coil stop, so apparently there was grease all over it. So I cleaned all that off, and it's Morse code, I think. Look, folks, if you don't like loud noises, why are you watching a pinball video? Come on now. So I think we got that fixed. It was grease all over the coil stop. So basically, it was literally getting stuck for a little bit. So I think that's that. So we're going to clean it up a little bit and slide the glass on it. Okay, folks, we're going to put it through the motions a little bit. So whenever Mr. Rodney brought us his moonshot, it had weak flippers. We fixed that. He wanted us to check the multiplayer. He wasn't sure if that worked. It didn't, but we got it working good. That was the hardest part. Wanted us to fix light bulbs. There were a few light bulbs out here and there. Took care of that. He was mentioning that it hums sometimes. We think we've got most of that figured out, but it's, you know, the things, they hum a little bit. But I think a lot of that was it trying to step up the player unit. And also the back box separating. So it was already working. He just wanted us to kind of freshen it up a little bit. The playfield was still in pretty good shape, so I waxed it a little bit, as you saw earlier. But basically, we're just going to play it a little bit. Let's play a two-player game, just to make sure everything's cool. I would play a four-player game, but it's on 5-ball. It'll take forever. Now you can't see the scores, but you can kind of tell by the chimes. So I got 1,119 points on the first ball, and I didn't even hit the flipper. That's pretty good. Second player. Okay. First player. Oh man, I might not have it. You know, I keep setting these machines right in the same spot of the building. They might not be level. I don't think I'm this bad of a player. I'm gonna blame the floor. It's the concrete. it's the concrete, people. Ball 3. I kind of like how they did the man. I kind of like how they did the little things rounded here. It's kind of interesting. We talked about that in the first video a little bit. How it kind of gives you a strange shot. Ball 4. Man, it's killer out of them things. I can hear the complaints now. I'm making stilted. Oh, come on now. They're robbing me. That's not a complaint. I'm just commenting. When other people do it, it's a complaint. It keeps coming down there. It never comes down there. Why is that? Maybe it's the way I'm plunging it. Well, it played the game properly. It went back and forth like it's supposed to. So I think we got that part figured out. How's it going, man? What you up to tonight?
Just looking.
All right, folks, I had some people come in to give me some money. Sorry to keep you waiting. So what were we doing? We were talking about how... Oh, look, it did go down the left side. See, I don't know that it's tilted. I mean, I don't know how we could ever find out. I think there's just a pretty big gap between the flippers. And so it's easy to lose it between the flippers. That's what I think. That's a hell of a ricochet there. It's bouncing pretty straight, it appears to me. Look, it did it from the left side too, people. Come on, people. Come on now. If it's doing it from the right and the... People. If it's not level, how does the ball keep going that way and then we're losing it this way? Come on now. It can't be unleveled two different ways. People, it would always go to the... It doesn't always go to the same side, people. Come on now. That ain't right. It's just hard. That's what it is. It's a hard game. This is a shooter's game. You kind of need it to go through the middle. If you come through here, you got a high likelihood that you're going to lose the ball. So see, I'm just plunging it. See, look, see how that drops straight down? I think it's level. I'm just plunging it, and it's hitting the rebound and bouncing over here, and that's why it keeps doing that. So you got to do it a little different. Like that, see? Now that's better. I want to see it. There's the blue ones. I was just about to say, I want to see it light up my blue ones. Oh. The kickers are a little stronger. I mean, a little more active than the flippers actually are. Uh-oh. I overshot the middle. I was able to save it, though. Same player shoots again when lit, folks. I thought it had messed up, but see, it did the same thing because I didn't bounce off the rebound. It just went through, hit that, and went down. So that's just a dangerous shot, is what it is. You just got to get better at playing it. There's no crying in pinball. Come on, folks. Didn't Steve Ritchie say that when everybody was complaining about the Star Wars thing? There's a on Star Wars. There's a sometimes the ball comes out kind of weird. It's a kind of appears to be a design flaw, but somebody asked Steve Ritchie about it, if there was any way to fix it. He told him to play better. Now, I understand it's going to anger a lot of people, but I kind of get his point. He's saying, look, it is what it is, deal with it. Play better, people. Look, if it's doing it on both sides, I wonder if maybe I got the slope wrong or something. Makes it worse. No, I've got it pretty flat, actually. Uh-oh. 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 I haven't got much of a chance to use my new powerful flippers. Now, you saw the ball fall straight down. Come on, folks. They wanted you to have to pay for it, all right? That's just what it comes down to. All right, we're going to play one more game. This is going to be our final game here, folks. Final game. So I'm going to try to land between the top two dead bumpers. There we go. So we don't lose it out the out lanes. Through the flippers is easy. Oh, no. I haven't even got the gates to open yet. So I got 658 on that ball. Ball 2. Come on, give me them points. Every time you get it, it's like 1 point, 2 points. Oh. Okay. And it's... Oh no! Oh no! It went past... If it gets past those outside pop bumpers, you're in trouble. There we go. I banged it a little bit. Oh no! Oh no! I didn't do it good enough. Oh, damn it! It's advancing when I roll over these little advance buttons. Okay, we're gonna try it one more time. I'm just getting good at it. I only got 1,157 points though. I'm starting to figure out how this one plays. So you want to go between the dead bumpers. That also gives you that 10-point bumper right off the bat, you know. And then I've been shooting, trying to get back to the... Look, it opened my right gate. That was cool. So this target opens your right gate, and that target opens your left gate. Whenever, I'm on the flippers, I'm trying to get back to the top. On this game, too, you can't roll back up the end lanes. There's a little gate here. I guess the best thing to do would be to make the shot through the little... Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I overshot it. There we go. Get back in the middle. All right. It's good. We're back where we're supposed to be. You got us beating up the pop bumpers. Oh no! Oh no! You don't want to be on the outside of either one of those two pop bumpers. If you are, horrible things are going to happen. Oh look, and then I did it on the next ball. All right, I'm up to 839 points. That's not bad on ball 4. Not quite enough. Needed a little more juice. Okay, we're at 1158, final ball. I need to open the gates, and then I won't lose it out the out lanes, hopefully. Missed it. Oh! If I would have had that gate open. But no dice, people, no dice. All right, so there you go. That is Chicago Coins Moonshot. Cool little game. Hard as hell. But we got the flippers stronger now. I think the flippers are adequate. It's just... they were not being generous with the points on this one. All right, they just weren't. I can see why it's on 5-ball now. You got to get a little more bang for your buck. I got 1,466 points. That's probably a world record. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And we worked through it a little bit. We had fun messing with it. You got to not let... you know, it's a game, people. You're not even playing to pay it. You're not even... Blah, blah, blah. I'm getting dyslexic as I get older. You're not even paying to play it. Right? Have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, why the hell are you even playing? Come on now. So, hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. I'll be happy to see those this time. I can't wait. Oh, man. I can just hear it now. And make sure to check out my brother Donnie. My brother has his own channel here on YouTube, and we work on pinball machines, arcade games, jukeboxes. My brother, he's done videos on vehicles. He's done videos on old buildings that we're repairing and fixing up, renovating. He's done videos on a CNC machine that we're using to cut arcade game cabinets with and things like that. He's done videos on farming. He has cows. That's right, he owns cows. So go check out his videos if you haven't already. I'm over there with him on most of the videos, and a good time is had by all. Hey, by the way, do you want to know how you can support our channel? I think I talked about it earlier, but if you go on our website, go to lionsarcade.com. There is a parts page on our website. And on that website, on that parts page, there are a bunch of links to products that we use in our videos, like the wax and stuff like that we were talking about earlier. If you click any of those links, it takes you to Amazon. If you go to Amazon after clicking the link and then buy anything, doesn't even have to be what the link was. It gives us a tip. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. It's actually been adding up a lot lately, so I guess a lot more people are doing it. So thank you to everyone that's doing that, and we will see you on the next video. This is Chicago Coins Moonshot.